11:29 a.m., December 20th, 1943. The altitude is 27,000 feet. The location is a frozen, hostile quadrant of sky 8 miles above Bremen, Germany. Inside the cockpit of the B-17F Flying Fortress, serial number 423167, nicknamed Ye Olde Pub, the temperature is 40 degrees below zero. Second Lieutenant Charlie Brown, 21 years old, fights the controls. His aircraft is a flying wreck. The plexiglass windscreen is a spiderweb of cracks. The air screaming through the holes is a physical assault, snatching the breath from his lungs. His oxygen mask is frozen to his face. The mission, a daylight raid by the 379th Bomb Group on the Focke-Wulf aircraft factory, was a disaster from the start. They were meant to be part of a massive 500 bomber stream, a river of aluminum flowing deep into the Reich. But the weather over the North Sea was chaotic. Brown's squadron fell behind. They arrived at the initial point late and alone. The German 88mm flak batteries waiting for them were precise. The sky erupted in black, greasy puffs of smoke. Shrapnel the size of a man's fist tore through the thin aluminum skin of the bomber. Ye Olde Pub is hit. Hard. The number 2 engine on the port wing is gone, its propeller feathered. The number 4 engine is sputtering, trailing smoke. The hydraulic system is dead. The electrical system is fried. The interphone, the vital link connecting the 10-man crew, is silent. Brown screams into his mask, but no one can hear him. He has no idea what is happening in the back of his own plane. He is flying a 30-ton coffin, and his only instrument of navigation, the magnetic compass, is spinning uselessly. They are alone, wounded, and lost over the most heavily defended city in Germany. On the ground at the Luftwaffe airfield in Jever, near Bremen, Oberleutnant Franz Stiegler sips a cup of coffee. He is an ace, a 29 victory pilot with Jagdgeschwader 27. He is also exhausted. He has flown 3 missions this week. His head throbs from the fumes and the altitude. He is 1 kill away from earning the Ritterkreuz, the Knight's Cross, one of Germany's highest military honors. His brother August, also a Luftwaffe pilot, was killed earlier in the war. Franz fights for his brother, for his fellow pilots, but his faith in the glorious cause has faded. It is just a job. A brutal, cold job. The alarm bell shatters the quiet. Gross alarm. Heavy bomber formations detected. Stiegler throws his cup down and sprints, with his ground crew, to his aircraft. It is a Messerschmitt, Bf 109G6, Black 12. As he straps in, he hears the distant thunder of the flak batteries opening up over Bremen. He takes off, his 20mm cannon and 13mm machine guns fully armed. He is a hunter, and his mission is simple. Find the stragglers, the wounded bombers separated from the herd, and destroy them. He climbs into the frozen chaos, scanning the sky. He doesn't know it, but this interception will not be a kill. It will be a choice, one that will violate every regulation he has sworn to uphold and define the rest of his life. The strategic reality of 1943 is a cold, mathematical equation of death. The United States Army Air Forces, led by the 8th Air Force, is committed to the doctrine of high-altitude, daylight precision bombing. They believe their heavily armed B-17s, the flying fortresses, can defend themselves in massive, tightly packed combat box formations. This theory is being proven catastrophically wrong. The unescorted bombers are being systematically slaughtered by the Luftwaffe. The period is grim. October 1943, Black Thursday, saw the 8th Air Force lose 60 bombers over Schweinfurt, with another 17 damaged beyond repair. That is 600 men lost in a single afternoon. Official reports from the USAF's A-2 Bomber Command are written in sterile, passive language. Loss rates are currently exceeding sustainable operational thresholds. Crew morale is being tested by the high operational tempo. The truth is far darker. The Reich is defended by thousands of anti-aircraft guns and a dedicated corps of seasoned fighter pilots flying aircraft like the Focke-Wulf 190 and the Messerschmitt Bf 109. These interceptors are armed with 20mm and 30mm cannons that fire high-explosive shells. A single, well-placed burst can detonate a B-17 in mid-air. For the Reich, it is a desperate, total war for their homeland. For the American bomber crews, the odds of completing their 25-mission tour are statistically negligible. These statistics have a human face. The reality of a high-altitude mission is a 9-hour journey into hell. The crews wake at 3 a.m. They are briefed, handed maps, and then they wait. They dress in electrically heated, fleece-lined suits, which often short out, leaving them to freeze. At 27 feet, the air is too thin to breathe and colder than the Arctic. Frostbite is a constant enemy. Men who touch bare metal with ungloved hands lose their skin. The oxygen masks, their lifeline, fill with frozen saliva and condensation, making every breath a struggle. The B-17 is not pressurized. It is a thin-skinned aluminum tube filled with 2 700 gallons of high-octane fuel and 4 tons of high explosives being pounded by flak and cannon shells. The mission to Bremen is a maximum effort. For Charlie Brown and the crew of Ye Old Pub, the flak over the target is the worst they have ever seen. It is so thick, pilots will later report, you could get out and walk on it. Brown's plane is ravaged on the bomb run itself. The 2 port engines are hit. The interphone crackles and a single garbled word comes from the tail gunner, Sergeant Eckenrode. Flak. And then, silence. The ball turret gunner, Sergeant Blackford, reports his turret is smashed, his guns useless. Then the fighters hit them, 6 Focke-Wulf 190s diving from above. They rake the plane from nose to tail. Brown's co-pilot, Pinky Luke, is hit in the head by shrapnel. The top turret gunner is wounded. The radio operator, Sam Blackie Blackford, is fighting to stop the bleeding in the waist gunner's leg. Sight start. The plane is a charnel house. Sight 3-4. Experts agreed, flying this wreck home was impossible. Franz Stigler is not a Nazi. He is a Bavarian, a Catholic, and a professional aviator. He learned to fly from his father, a pilot in the Great War. Before the war, Franz was a pilot for Lufthansa, flying floatplanes and passenger aircraft. He is a man who loves the sky, who understands the physics of flight in his bones. He joined the Luftwaffe to fly, not to fight for an ideology he privately disdains. He has seen the worst of the war, serving in the brutal campaigns of North Africa and Sicily. He has seen his friends die. He has seen his brother die. He holds 27 victory marks on his rudder, but each one is a memory of a different kind of failure. He is a product of an older, pre-Nazi code of chivalry. His first commanding officer in North Africa, the legendary ace Gustav Rudel, gave his new pilots a grim warning. You are fighter pilots. You will fight by the rules. If I ever see you or hear of you shooting at a man in a parachute, I will come and find you, and I will shoot you myself, you understand? Stigler understood. That code was absolute. You fight a machine, you do not execute a man. This principle is the bedrock of his identity as an airman, more important than the Iron Cross on his chest or the Knight's Cross he is so close to winning. Stigler, climbing through the broken clouds in his Bf 109, spots the lone B-17. It is flying low, slow, and far inside German territory, a straggler, an easy kill. This is his 28th victory, the one that will earn him the Knight's Cross. He smiles. He radios his ground crew to have the champagne ready. He approaches from the bomber's 6 o'clock the blind spot. He closes the distance to 600 meters, then 400. His thumb moves to the Kanonen trigger. He is ready to fire. But something is wrong. The bomber isn't firing back. He closes further, 100 meters. What he sees makes him take his thumb off the trigger. Sight start. The tail of the B-17 is gone. Sight 16. Sight start. The tail gunner is slumped over, his uniform dark. Sight 15. Stigler moves to the side of the aircraft. The fuselage is shredded, ripped open to the air. He can see inside the plane. He sees men huddled, working frantically on other wounded men. The ball turret is hanging by a thread. The waist guns are silent. He pulls up alongside the bomber's wing. The number 2 engine is a mangled wreck. This is not a warplane, it is a hearse. He remembers Rodel's words. These men, they are in a parachute. To shoot them would not be a victory, it would be a slaughter. He makes his decision. It is an act of treason. He pulls his Messerschmitt level with the B-17's cockpit. Charlie Brown, fighting the yoke, hears a different sound, a high-pitched whine that cuts through the roar of his two failing engines. He looks to his left. His heart stops. 10 feet away, no more, is a German fighter, a Bf-109. Its nose is painted in a desert camouflage pattern, and its spinner is yellow. He can see the pilot. The pilot is looking right at him. Brown is paralyzed. This is it. The end. He has no guns, no defense. He waits for the 20mm cannons to flash, but the German pilot doesn't shoot. He is gesturing. He waves his hands frantically. He points down toward the ground. He is yelling, but Brown cannot hear him. Stigler is trying to communicate. "Land! Land your plane! You are finished in the air." Brown is confused. Is this a trick? A new form of psychological warfare? The German pilot is persistent. He points to Brown's damaged wing, then back to the ground. Stigler is trying to get them to land in Germany, to surrender. It is the only way in his mind they will survive. Brown stares, uncomprehending. He shakes his head. He mouths the word England. Stigler is now in an impossible situation. He cannot shoot them, he cannot leave them, and he cannot convince them to land. He sees they are approaching the German coast. This, he knows, is the most dangerous part of the journey. The Atlantic Wall is lined with German flak batteries, and their commanders are not in the air. They are on the ground, and they will fire on any enemy bomber they see. A new idea, even crazier than the first, forms in Stigler's mind. He will perform the secret test. He will escort them. They reach the coastline near the mouth of the Weser River. A German flak battery commander spots the low, slow-moving B-17. It is a perfect target. He gives the order to his crews to load and aim. But as he looks through his binoculars, he pauses. There is a Bf-109 flying in perfect formation off the bomber's wing. A German fighter. The commander is confused. He reasons it must be a captured B-17 being escorted to a German airfield. He countermands his order. "Hold your fire, one of ours is on him." The batteries go silent. Stigler's bluff, his test, has worked. He has used the authority of his own Luftwaffe uniform as a shield for his enemy. They cross the coastline and are out over the icy North Sea. Stigler knows he has done all he can. His fuel is running low. He cannot follow them to England. He pulls his Bf-109 up one last time, so close that Brown can see the German pilot's face clearly. Stigler looks at Brown. He raises his gloved hand, not in a fascist salute, but in a slow, clean military salute. An airman to an airman. Then he banks his fighter hard to the right and dives away, disappearing back toward the German coast. Charlie Brown is left in the cockpit, stunned, holding a dying airplane over the sea. If stories like this fascinate you, stay with us. The next chapter of wartime innovation might surprise you. Hours later, Ye Olde Pub makes landfall at RAF Seething, the 448th Bomb Group's base. The plane is a miracle of destruction. It has no hydraulics, no brakes, and only 2 engines. Brown and his co-pilot, Pinky Luke, wrestle the plane onto the runway. It collapses on its belly, scrapes for 1,000 feet in a shower of sparks and ground loops, finally coming to a stop. The crews on the ground, who had been watching, are silent. They had never seen an aircraft land in that condition. The crew tumbles out, 9 of the 10 men alive. They kiss the tarmac. Brown is taken immediately to debriefing. The intelligence officer, a major, pours him a glass of whiskey. "Lieutenant, in all my years I have never seen a plane return like yours. Tell me what happened." Brown, shaking from cold and adrenaline, tells the truth. He describes the flak, the fighters, and then the German pilot. "Sir, a Bf-109. He flew with us. He pointed at us. He saluted us and left." The officer's pen stops. He looks up at Brown, his eyes hard. "Lieutenant, you are clearly suffering from combat fatigue. You're in shock." Brown tries to protest. "Sir." The whole crew saw him. The officer cuts him off. "You will not repeat this story. Do you understand me? We cannot have the men thinking there are good Germans. It is bad for morale. You will write in your report that you were hit by flak and limped home. That is all." Brown, a 21-year-old lieutenant, understands the order. He is to bury the truth. Meanwhile, Franz Stigler lands back at Jever. His ground crew is confused. "Oberleutnant, your guns were. They are clean. You did not fire." Stigler is grim. The bomber was hit by flak, he lies. It crashed into the sea before I could engage. He walks away. He never files a combat report. He never mentions the incident to anyone. He has committed an act that, if discovered, would have him stood against a wall and shot. He has saved the lives of 9 enemies, and in doing so he has saved his own humanity. He will fly 280 more missions, be shot down 17 times himself, and survive the war. But he will never report his 28th kill. The war ends. Charlie Brown completes his 25-mission tour and is sent home. He serves in the Air Force for another 2 decades, flying in Korea and Vietnam. Before retiring as a lieutenant colonel, Franz Stiegler's life is fractured. He tries to find work as a pilot in post-war Germany, but the country is shattered. In 1953, he immigrates to Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. He speaks no English. He becomes a carpenter, a bricklayer. He builds a new life, a quiet, humble life, a world away from the skies of Bremen. He never speaks of the war. But the incident haunts Charlie Brown. For 40 years he obeys his order. He tells no one, but in 1986, at a reunion of his bomb group, he is asked to speak. He tells the story, the real story, of December 20th, 1943. His fellow veterans are stunned. They convince him, "Charlie, you have to find that pilot." Brown begins a quest. It consumes him. He scours archives. He writes to Luftwaffe historical societies. He spends 4 years searching for a ghost, a man whose name he never knew, whose face he saw for only a few minutes through a pane of cracked glass. In 1990, Brown, almost giving up, places a small advertisement in a newsletter for the Association of Luftwaffe Fighter Pilots. The ad is simple. "I am searching for the German pilot who on Deck 20, 1943, near Bremen, saved my damaged B-17 and its crew." He saluted and peeled away. The newsletter finds its way to a retired carpenter in Vancouver. Franz Stiegler sees the ad. He freezes. He writes a letter to Brown. "Dear Lieutenant, I was that pilot. I have often wondered what happened to you if you made it home." They arrange a phone call. Brown, in his home in Florida, picks up the receiver. "Is this Franz Stiegler?" A voice accented replies, "Yes, and you are Charlie Brown. I was the one who saluted you." The 2 men, separated by a war and 46 years of silence, weep. They arrange to meet. In a hotel lobby in Florida, 2 old men, one a former American bomber pilot and one a former German fighter ace, see each other. They do not shake hands. They embrace, like brothers. They would remain inseparable friends until Franz Stiegler's death in 2008. The incident was not about engineering or technology or the superiority of one aircraft over another. The B-17 and the Bf-109 were simply the vessels. The real event was a parallel of human choice. When asked over and over why he did it, why he risked execution for an enemy, Franz Stiegler's answer was always the same. "It was the code. My commanding officer, Gustav Rödel, told us, 'You fight by the rules, or you are not a man.' On sight start, when I saw that plane, I knew there was no fight." Aceti 13:14. "They were defenseless. It would have been the same as shooting a man in a parachute. Sight start, I could not do it." Sight 5. The 2 planes, one a fortress of aluminum and the other a blade of steel, have long since been melted down. But the salute, suspended in the frozen air over Bremen, remains. It is a silent witness, a moment when a man's character proved stronger than his orders. It is a testament that even in the heart of total war, in the center of the inferno, humanity is not a target. It is the only mission that matters. Every great idea begins as an act of defiance against impossibility. What impossible ideas do you think could change the world?